So hello and welcome to Global Online. I am Chandni Swarnakar. We have started a new series where we are covering CTET exam topics very carefully with the help of MCQs. Okay, you can watch my lectures at 5 p.m. and this is my 7th lecture. You can watch my lectures, previous lectures, and you can solve as much as questions as you can. Okay, to ace the exam in a proper way. Okay, to get good marks, right? And with explanation we'll cover everything, and apart from that, if you need any help, any information, you can contact here. Okay, now let's jump into the question first. Let's read first question. Which of the following is not true while teaching the learners in their mother tongue at primary level? The question is asking which is not true. You have to focus on that whether it's asking not or it's just asking without it. Okay, so now it focuses more on mother tongue at primary level. Well, you have to know the advantages of that so that you can answer the question. So let me give you an example of the advantages. First, enhance comprehension. It actually enhances the ability to understand the concept better. Okay, when you teach in a mother tongue, that enhances the students' capacity to understand things better, concepts better. Then cognitive skills develops. Then cultural preservation. Children can connect to the cultural events very carefully or in a natural way, right? And then fourth option, smooth transition to additional languages. It actually helps a learner to acquire the additional language in a smooth way. Okay, it make it smooth. Now the question, let's read the four options. It is helpful in the intellectual development of the child. Of course it is true, so it cannot be the answer because intellectual cognitive skill it may develop. Now second, it helps children learning in a natural environment. Of course, very true, so it cannot be the answer. It develops self-confidence in the child. So it is not true with the mother tongue at primary level. Okay, so this one is the correct answer. Let's read the last one also. It makes learning easy. Of course it makes it smooth, right? So the third one is the correct answer. Why? Because self-confidence does not rely only on mother tongue. Okay, it vary according to the skills that the person is acquiring or the ability to acquire the skill. Okay, so it does not depend on that. So third will be the correct answer. Now the second option, second question. Home language is dash in a natural way. So now let's read the options. Taught, promoted, acquired and learned. So learned means it's a systematic way. When you are learning a thing in a systematic way, that is meant learned. So it cannot be the correct one. Promoted, it cannot be same. Taught, we don't teach home language. Okay, so it is also not true. Yes, the third one is the correct answer because home language is actually acquired. We naturally acquired it, right? So third will be the correct answer. Now let's read the third one. Which one of the following is the most important prerequisite for language learning? Prerequisite stands for which is very necessary, which is very important to exist, right? So let's read the options. Children's motivation to learn the language. First, list of aims and objectives of the language to be learned. Third, providing a good textbook to children to learn the language, or using structural situation approach while learning. So now these three options are under this one, because when somebody is motivated enough to learn a language, it will helpful for the aim and objectives. The person can identify the aim and objectives and also can get the good textbook. Of course they can prepare for that, and a structural situation, the person can identify which kind of situation or approach may more fruitful for the learning, right? So first option, children's motivation to learn the language is the most important prerequisite for language learning, right? First one. The most important factor which is responsible for the differentiation between language learning and language acquisition. So now you must know that what is the difference between language learning and language acquisition. Language acquisition stands for naturally we acquire it, okay? In a natural way we acquire a language. That is called language acquisition. In a systematic way, when you acquire a language in a systematic and a pre-planned way, that means language learning. Okay, so now grammar of language actually adds to both of them. Assessment in language is also about to both of them. Textbook of language is also about language learning and language acquisition. The only thing, language environment is the only option that actually make the difference, because language learning, in language learning we use environment according to our own needs, according to planning. But in language acquisition, environment plays a very huge role. Like we cannot learn a language without environment support. Okay, so now the first option is the correct option. Now, which one of the following is the most important about storytelling? So storytelling actually helps in a different way. Sorry for the fumbling. And different way, but the question is asking what is the most important about storytelling. The first one, it broadens their knowledge about various authors. Of course it's true, but it cannot be the most important. Okay, without knowing the author we can understand the concept and it can help us, right? Then second, it enhances graded pattern and structure. It is important because the graded pattern means there must be a systematic way, like plot will be there, then it has a 7-act process, climax, introduction, right? So it has structure and graded pattern. It enhances, of course. So it promotes whole language approach, of course. It is an effective way of learning vocabulary, of course, but the most important will be this one. It enhances graded pattern structure, because you can effective way, like you can learn vocabulary in different ways also with the help of different approaches. Whole language approach, of course it is not the whole language approach, because when you say or when you recite a story, you actually not writing it, right? So writing does not include. So the B is the correct answer. Now sixth one, learning to speak in a second language does not involve. Which one is not into learning to speak in a second language? Okay, now second language grammatical knowledge, of course you must know the grammatical knowledge. Theory is also very important. Its pronunciation is also important. Now the second one is the correct answer, because culturally you do not need to know much. Even without knowing that, you can just work on. So B is the correct answer. Now, in a constructivist classroom, language learning should be based on. Constructivist stands for when you are getting knowledge, you're actually getting knowledge. It's not into a passive kind of way, okay? You are actually actively participating into it. So now, in a constructivist classroom, language learning should be based on, first, the transaction of the prescribed textbook by the author. Learners' previous knowledge in constructing their knowledge using authentic tasks. Third, the assumption that English language can only be learned if the teacher transmits it to the learners. Fourth, drill and practice of grammatical items. It cannot be the constructivist thing. Third one is also not the one. Then we can also just reject the first one. Second one is the correct answer, because you have to know the previous knowledge of the learner to check that what kind of things and in what way the person can learn, the learner can learn, right? And it actually works on constructivist classroom and it is based on that. So second will be the correct answer. Now, vocabulary in the target language should be kept under control, that is graded. This can be done by options. Teachers providing a short list of words that are commonly used. It can be, but it is not the very effective. It cannot be very effective. Second, students learning and practicing in the context of real situations. It can be, you can learn, but only the words that are very usual, not the words you actually need. Third, students write, speak using a graded list of new words. And fourth, students read a prescribed book and take a vocabulary quiz. So fourth one is also not that effective. The third one is very much effective. When you write and speak, you actually, for writing you read also, speaking you are also reading something and then you are speaking, and it actually, students write and speak using a graded list of new words. Okay, so that is the correct answer, right? It can effectively target language. Ninth question number, supply comprehensible input in low anxiety situation. Comprehensible input, basically the use of those things that can actually be effective for the learners. Okay, so that the learner can learn a thing very easily. Now, in low anxiety situations, you have to find out the, in low anxiety situations is the basis of language acquisition. An example would be, the question is asking an example of this. Now, the first option, teacher directed learning in the classroom. Yeah, here learner is not the participant. Second, collaboration of students in learning situations. It actually lower the anxiety, because when students collaborate and learn things, that actually slow down the anxiety level and actually supply comprehensible unit. Okay, input. Second one, homework designed to use parents support, so it does not work. Students receive feedback for error correction regularly. It is also for the systematic way, but it cannot be the answer. So second will be the correct answer, right? Which one? Second will be the correct answer. Now the last one, last question. Children deserve most of the credit for the language that they acquire. This observation implies that in modern classrooms. Question is asking, children deserve most of the credit for the language that they acquire. This observation implies that in modern classrooms. Now the options. Students pursue their own lines of inquiry. Students need not attend L2 classes. Of course, this cannot be the answer. Third, students may choose L2 on their own. Of course, no. Fourth, the teacher establishes the task and supports or facilitates learning. If teacher establishes the task, teacher will only get involved. So it cannot be the answer. When somebody is trying to learn a language, they have to inquire. They have to pursue their own line of inquiry. They have to find out that, okay, which word, this word means that, this word means this. Okay, so A is the correct answer. Definitely. Now, we have already covered 10 questions of learning and acquisition. You can watch my other lectures and go through it. You have to understand all the concepts very carefully and practice as much as possible, as I told you before also. So thank you for today. We'll meet tomorrow, right? Thank you.